finds Hypoxia. Alexstrasza is the one who's going to tank it. Ignite is dropped as well to bully him away, but he's still relatively healthy.
There's a good binding from Alexstrasza to try and get the return damage and make sure they don't fall too far behind. So watching out for that as they walked forward. But it was a good play there. But they drop an Ignite for a flash. So I say it's worth it.
So this is a little interesting for me because Georgia Tech, they mentioned that they have strong lanes, and we could see Saber and RiceFox going aggressive. We can see Sunar pushing up just a little bit, but in both of Florida State's games, whoa, another binding finds Alexstrasza's. In both of Florida State's games, they were 40-minute long matches that they ended up losing. So if this laning phase goes poorly, it might be in Florida State's favor that they can drag it out.
Yeah, and 40 minutes, is no joke on this patch. It's very quick. Snowballs can actually happen very early on and can get you to close the game out in 29 minutes, right? It's what we were seeing in the EU LCS before this week. Is that average game time being very low. Yeah. But Florida State, theirs is very high, but it might be high again because if you just look at it, the Victor mid with the wave clear and the Ezreal needs that time to ramp up, that they're hoping it's a 40-minute game.
Could be exactly what Florida State is looking for. Luckily, patch 6.1 makes closing out games just a little bit more difficult. So we'll see how that works out. Junglers are going to spot each other. Looks like Scuttlecrab was secured by Is That Him. He's actually not taken his blue buff just yet.
I love his name so much.
Is that really him?
Is that him? Like,
do you have to sing it?
Open to page 24? Is that him? No, it's not.
No. You gotta open to page 24.
Is that him? No, you're looking at scriptures. Is that him?
Just pointing at the book over and over. Axe goes by.
We'll find it eventually.
And once again, things calm and relaxed. Blue buff now secured by Is That Him.
Looks like a little bit of a meep journey here for Alexstrasza. He's spotted out, though, by the team of Georgia Tech. But nobody's putting pressure on the Hypoxia just yet. So making sure that they just keep this freeze and keep the lane pushing towards them. Don't know if they'll use this opportunity, though. Looks like they're just going to get pushed out.
Yeah, I Eat Puppies was spotted out. Did secure Scuttlecrab, but a quick ward from RiceFox made sure that they had vision of where that Gragas was going. Getting a quick recall now. Lee Sin now.
Oh, looking at Zatsmon.
Might be looking to the head lane, the mid lane.
Yeah, looking for the shot caller, looking for the best player on the team of Florida State. If he can take him out. But speaking of taking somebody out.
Yeah, Saber just taking some harass. And again, Lee Sin decides to back away. So it is a patient sort of early game.
Yeah,
everybody wants to scale up.
Exactly. Both teams want to scale. Both teams want to make it to the point where they are making a play that they can pretty much guarantee is going to go off, especially with Zatsmod and his cleanse. I think this is intelligent to have the cleanse on Victor against the Lissandra, because as soon as the ultimate comes down, you're able to just cleanse it and walk away for the most part, or return damage and try to burst Lissandra. It'll be very difficult to actually gank Zatsmod effectively once that level 6 comes out.
And Sunar should be getting level 6 off of this wave, so we'll see if anything breaks out as Zatsmod looks to match it, though we do have a flank from I Eat Puppies and Alexstrasza. Yeah. There's level 6.
Oh, if he walks too close to that wall.
Yeah, should be just fine. Lands a snare, decides to use ult on himself. Teleport from Yuk is canceled, as it looks like RiceFox is just a bit too late to the party.
That's kind of rough, too, because Shelf has 2 sources of teleport, right? Now he can just use Stand United on somebody if they start a fight, and then he can just TP back to lane and not really miss out on any CS and match Yuk. You have to be very careful about that, especially against the Shen, because now Yuk is pretty much stuck to stay in this lane, and he can't even interrupt a teleport if he wanted to.
Yeah, good communication from Florida State University, not pulling that teleport from Shelf too soon, but Yuk pulling the trigger just a bit too quick.
I wasn't fully aware of if he got taunted out of his teleport or not, but a little distracted at the moment by the fight in the mid lane.
Yeah.
But
once again, yeah, I Eat Puppies just going to shove this wave in, get a recall in for Victor.
Yeah, you really want to, once somebody has low mana on your team in the mid lane, you really want to free them up, especially since it's before that 7-minute and 20-second mark where you'll have your blue buff back up. Just clear the wave, allow him to back, allow him to make his first purchases, and then Victor is usually fine after that. You get an upgrade, you make sure that you can clear the wave, you get a Fiendish Codex, there's a whole bunch of other things. But it looks like because he's been delayed, he actually has to stick this one out and just stay in the mid lane.
Seems like he's going to stay. Sunar, as you mentioned in Champ Select, rocking that teleport as well. So could be an opportunity to try to get a little bit of a CS lead, just shove that Victor in, then teleport back into lane to try trading with him Shelf. Taking just a bit of damage.
Yeah, you have to watch that as Shen early. You're going to lose that matchup. You'll get a little bit of sustain yourself, but Mundo definitely gets more sustain on a more on a faster level, a more quick level.
Consistent basis. I Eat Puppies now shows himself in the top lane.
My favorite type of jungler. He just comes by and he's like, you know, you need help? I need CS. He just smacked that one. He just took it.
Perfect. I'll trade you help for CS.
I'm helping you clear.
You get them low, I'll take the minions. Oh.
Yuk has no problem with this, though.
Yuk is undaunted.
2v1 pretty easily here.
Yeah. I Eat Puppies actually rode the belly slam to safety. They're both recalling now. Yuk might have opened up an advantage against two people.
Of course, they can always use the teleport to match if he doesn't want to miss any CS, but I assume he wants to keep it for team-wide plays, which they'll be able to make rather shortly. Alexstrasza approaching the level 6, and they need to match TP of the mid lane too, in case Sunar tries to make a clever play to the bot or top. It looks like he's moving towards bot here. Oh no, he's just gonna clear. He's just gonna clear out his draft. He just wants gold. Mid laners want. There's just one little gold.
True Shot Barrage shoves the wave. A ward did spot out. Is that him as he looks to go bottom? And he's just going to ward hop over a wall to escape from a potential collapse of Florida State University.
And the red buff or blue buff being handed off to Zatzmon, so he'll be okay in that jungle very shortly. There he goes, picks it up for himself. No steals there.
Yeah.
You know, at least he doesn't take your buff. So I Eat Puppies. He can take your CS as long as he gives you the buff. So that's a 10 CS deficit for Zatzmon in the mid lane.
Ooh. Culling does some good damage to Hypoxia.
Yeah, and you'll typically see a CS disadvantage like this, but it usually gets very quickly equalized by Victor once he picked up his upgrade, which he did. So we'll start seeing this be more of a harass tool with his E, his Death Ray, clearing the wave simultaneously and trying to poke out Sunar, because the range of Victor is superior to the range of Lissandra.
Yeah, it looks like we are, speaking of items, seeing a delayed game from both teams as Catalyst picked up for Sunar, looking for that Rod of Ages, and Tyr now stacking on Hypoxia. So both teams are pretty content to just sit. Is that him, however? Might be looking for some vision. Quick ward hop gets him out.
Not quite. Yeah. Alexstrasza, he's been roaming quite a bit. Not much of that has actually come of it, but his laner X Hypoxia has been able to hold a little bit of a CS lead, just barely. But the thing is, it's blue build Ezreal. Just look at his build. Tyr, Sapphire Crystal, two things that aren't really going to give him much in terms of trading at all. So now he's picked up the pickaxe and some armor for himself, moving towards the Iceborne Gauntlet, so that he's actually going to have some resistances here. But of course, if a duel comes out right now, we'll see in the mid lane, or I guess the jungle, or mid.
Cast flash to get away from the binding. An aggressive invade and giving the red buff over to Yuk. Good timing from Georgia Tech. Snags the red buff and burns Puppy's flash.
Yeah, getting Puppy's flash is the important part, because flash or body slam flash is extremely potent. And there comes the cleanse from Zatzmod. You got it out. Sunar has blue buff, so this is the best time to do it, because you're going to have that CDR, so that you can do this again in pretty much a minute.
Yeah, we'll see if Sunar decides to recommit. Of course, that cleanse on him, a little bit of a bigger cooldown than 1 minute, so should be a solid trade. We'll have to see if we get any roams from Yuk, him, or even Rice Fox, as that teleport has now come back up for Yuk.
Yeah, no teleport advantage leveraged by Florida State. A little bit of a missed opportunity there. But they also are down 1,000 gold now just from CS at this point. You see the 15 in the mid lane. You see it's even pretty much in bottom with a little bit of advantage solution, but a wave is crashing. But the top lane. Yuk, he was 2v1ing at one point. He was coming out on top. He's put Shelf slightly behind him. It's to be expected in this matchup because Mundo is so strong and has mixed damage. So even when you build this HP, you're pretty much doing the same amount of damage to him, to the other person. So I definitely think that the Mundo gets this edge, and it's going to help him scale into the later game. But Shelf needs to start making plays across the map.
We'll have to see, as it looks like we're continuing to see pressure in the bottom. About 1,000 gold lead just off of CS. 18 CS lead for Yuk as he continues to shove Shelf in. And a similar CS lead for Sunar in the mid lane as both of those mid laners opt for a recall. And even just about everywhere else.
Yeah, second upgrade coming in for Zatzmon. It has the blue. I remember that by Freak came up with it. It was 2 for blue.
2 for blue?
Blue 2. That's how I remember it's the Victor upgrade. That's number 2. So you have the original one, then you have number 1, which you upgrade, and that one's yellow, I believe. And then you upgrade it again, and it's 2 for 2. 2 for blue.
2 blue.
2 blue. And then perfect is red.
Not red yet. Oh,
Not quite.
Yuk gets his recall canceled by I Eat Puppies. 3 members show to the top lane. Zatsmod, as you mentioned, on cooldown, kicks him out of it. Tempered Fate finds Is That Him? A great flash from Sunar nets the kill. Here comes Shelf as he teleports in. A follow-up is going to try to answer from Yuk, and everyone seems to be disengaging.
I think Is That Him was actually locked up, so he didn't get turret aggro while he was taunted. Shelf taunted him, but I think he was stunned, so he couldn't actually attack and draw turret aggro. So that would have been Is That Him going down, but instead, the CC ended up coming up in his favor.
Yeah, first kill of the game, as predicted, heading over to Sunar. Teleport from Shelf to cover the mid lane from Yuk. They don't want to take any chances with that Mundo getting out of control.
Yeah, they got both globals out of Shelf. Yeah. So Shelf is now going to have to walk to wherever he wants to go or wait that long duration on his teleport. He will have his stand united fairly shortly. Some damage on the Saber, though.
Oh, yeah. Thunderlord's chunking him down to about 1/3 of his health. Health potions and a Dorian's Blade should provide some regen, but Is That Him? Might be looking for another spotlight play after the one he achieved earlier.
You do see I Eat Puppies, though, hovering around the bot lane. I think they're about to have eyes on him in that jungle as well with that ward. The knowledge that he is around, the blue buff will be handed off very shortly. So Sunar, aware that it is most likely in Zatsmod's sights. This is the next objective to walk towards. That's going to actually queue off Lee Sin to start coming up that way. They're going to try to steal this away.
Yeah, blue buff has spawned. You can already see them contesting it. Down to 1,000 health, and Zatsmod is already there. Oh, he did get it.
Yep. Zatsmod picks it up, so the blue buff is secure. I do want to check out the items, though, in the mid lane, because Zatsmod, we talked about his Victor build, we talked about the second upgrade already. But Sunar, he went for the Rod of Ages. It's already stacking now at 14 minutes. It has 2 stacks on it, but he's going for the Frost Queen's claim. So his roams are going to be more potent. He already has slows to allow him to catch up, and slows to allow him to kite as well. So I think that's a very effective item on Lissandra to build. We don't see it too much because people will sometimes favor the Abyssal Scepter early in this matchup so that you have magic resistance, but you also just get a larger delta in the damage you deal to them compared to what they deal to you. So definitely a choice that's for the team as opposed to for himself.
We'll have to keep an eye on Sunar as he is sitting on that teleport for quite some time. If he decides to roam, bottom tier 1, now taken by Georgia Tech University.
It's kind of a slow bleed here for Florida State University. Down about 30 CS in the mid lane here in a Victor matchup. And in the top lane, they're down about 15. There is a little bit of a wave here, of course. But Yuk is definitely beating Shelf pretty hard right now. And Shelf, he got outplayed by going middle, and then he got outplayed by his teammate. By the stun. Could have had a kill there. But of course, this is a much bigger gold deficit for Florida State than just a single kill. Now, it looks like there's going to be 4 people in the top lane very shortly. Now, Georgia Tech, they like team fights. Well, they also like advantage team fights.
Ooh, calling is dropped by Saber to zone Shelf away. Flash gets him out of the Sonic Wave, and despite I Eat Puppy's presence, they're not fast enough to keep the top tier 1 turret standing. Georgia Tech 2 turrets to 0 as they're starting to scale up pretty quick.
Yeah, those 2 turrets. But in the bot lane, though, it does look like X-Hypoxia. He's going to get some time with this turret. He doesn't have that much damage, though. He'll be able to use the Sheen as much as possible. Of course, you have to throw it not at minions to get the activated portion of it. It's kind of strange because call it an activated. You have to use an ability, but it's kind of a passive. The passive portion of it.
To proc the Sheen?
Yeah, it's a passive that you have to be active to use. So it's like passive-aggressive. It's an aggressive passive.
The passive-aggressive active.
But you aren't like hitting the button, but you're still activating it. I don't know.
What if you suppress the passive-aggressive active?
Oh, man.
Binding is going to find I Eat Puppies. He's a Hungerin, but he's not seeing any on the Rift this time around. Well, actually, Direwolf's just spawned.
Yeah.
Do you think Gragas actually eats them?
No, I think Gragas just has other things in his sight. You don't get that kind of belly off of just wolves. Maybe he eats puppies a tiny bit. I don't know. But
speaking of Dragon, now secured by Georgia Tech. They are going to eat that first objective in Florida State. They're sitting there with an empty stomach.
I like how you were like, speaking of dragons, I was like, we were talking about puppies. I mean, They're a little different.
I was going for like monsters on the rift.
Oh, okay, yeah, jungle camps. Yeah, gotcha.
Because like, what is he going to eat the sentinel as well? It's a giant stone monster.
I mean, there's some things that enjoy eating stone.
Such as?
It's funny. I don't know why I actually had this thing in my head where it was like some gigantic golem that liked to eat up. But look at this. Sunar's going to jump
out. Sunar snares 3. Cleanse gets Zatsmod away, but he's still taking a lot of damage. Shelf comes in late. Flash. A knock-up. Hypoxia goes down. Rice Fox nets it. And I Eat Puppies is going to zone away the rest of Georgia Tech.
Only losing 1 member there for Florida State, so that's pretty much the best they could have hoped for in that situation that they looked unprepared for. Shelf really laid on his ultimate. Also, Sunar with a good engage there. Sunar, you know, they were talking about it when we interviewed them on Georgia Tech's side. They regard him as their best player, and Shelf, oh, almost!
The snare is going to find him. Sunar takes a lot of damage chunked away. Is that him? Will guide him to safety, and Rice Fox playing a dangerous game with 300 health and a Shen and a turret right there, but they walk away.
Rice Fox, if he lands a binding, they can get a little bit more poke off, but... Oh, Ezreal ulti? Ezreal?
Nope. Shot Barrage is going to miss just about everyone, as there's a counter push now from Florida State.
Yeah, Florida State going to push down the mid lane. They don't have that many resources, though. It is pre-20 minutes, but Yuk, he can go ahead and just clear this wave out. No problem.
Yeah, in League of Swifties, Mundo hunts you down until the end of time.
Pretty much. Very, very fast on that Mundo, but this entire team, 2 Frost Queen claims on Georgia Tech's side to the 1 that they have on Florida State's, but they do have an Iceborne Gauntlet. So there's going to be a lot of movement speed slows in this game that I think the Swifties and the reduction of the effectiveness of slows is definitely a worthwhile purchase. Even pre-Swifties buff and cost reduction, I think they'd still be pretty good buys in this game.
And with those Swifties, they chase forward, now taking the mid-tier 1. 3 turrets to 1 in favor of Georgia Tech, 2 turrets to 0, and a 5,000 gold lead. Things are going their way. Is that him is even looking to steal away, and successfully does steal away the blue buff of Florida State.
Yeah, he's been looking for an opportunity to take that buff away from Zatsmod constantly. Now Zatsmod, 2 levels down behind Sunar, and they want to help out that star player on the Georgia Tech roster. Zatsmod, though, being the shot caller and also the star player of his roster, they definitely think that this is the matchup they need to put attention on. But speaking of attention...
Yeah, he just missed his taunt. Here comes Sunar. He's going to dash in. The snare catches him. Tomb of Ice is dropped. Shelf taunts once again, but Sunar brings him down.
Almost. But, of course, 2v1. They had Sunar on the way, and they knew that that was the fight that they wanted to take. This is going to allow Fusion Saber to continue to push.
Oh, the cross map.
Or not. Or not.
Cross map smite from Hypoxia gets the revenge kill. Who needs a map?
Apparently, he needs to check for pings
for
where the Ezreal ultimate's coming from. Or his team needs a map to tell him. But Ezreal doesn't need a map. No scope.
Oh, man. Do you think he did a 360 beforehand?
Maybe. I've actually never gone that meta before in a game. I've just been like, watch me spin around one time and then shoot my ult with 360 no scope.
360 no scope. Oh.
Do it twice, 720.
Raptor now secure. 720. 1080p no scope. High resolution, 60 FPS.
Just watch. It's beautiful. It's literally beautiful. It looks great.
Meanwhile, red is once again being contested by Yuk. I Eat Puppies has his smite. Spooky Ghost is going to zone him away as Sunar now shows up. They could try to turn it on. The binding finds Puppies. He's taking a lot of damage, but luckily Gragas is nice and tanky. They just zone him away.
Yeah, they like these skirmishes. And Georgia Tech, what they're doing is they're going to every buff when it spawns. They have the timers on them and making sure that when it's up and Florida State wants it, they can possibly get a pick with their skirmish composition. They can possibly team fight as well. Because Georgia Tech, we're talking about how if they make it to team fights, even or ahead, they think that they're a clear favorite to win.
Ooh, the binding narrowly misses Shelf as he gets out. And Georgia Tech putting the forward pressure onto Florida State University, contesting buffs, shoving waves, shoving turrets. I'm sure if Saber had survived and dodged that Ezreal ultimate earlier, that wave would have been shoved just a little bit sooner, but now they're in the top.
Yeah, Saber would have had to back anyway, regardless, though, because he was very low, enough to get him killed by an Ezreal ulti.
Yeah.
But he wouldn't have been able to stay around too long. It's Shelf! Oh, he's reaching for it.
He goes forward, but he doesn't quite find it. There looks the play. There's the play from Is That Him?
Still a little behind, though. You have to wait for this composition to scale up. Now you have the Muramana activated on Hypoxia, so he's going to actually be contributing a large source of damage now.
Yeah, we're going to see if he can land these skill shots. Luckily, he does find one onto Mundo, but not the person that he wants to be hitting primarily. Another True Shot Barrage comes across. Is that him with his pretty much full damage build? Gets chunked out.
And this is really what you don't want to do against Florida State University's composition, is try to siege, because Victor's going to one-shot the entire wave with a Death Ray, and you're going to get poked by Ezreal, whereas you don't have much counter to it. You have a short-range Lissandra who has to commit and dive, and then you have the Lucian who's also rather short-range. You can maybe poke with a culling, but you're mostly looking for a binding and then an all-in, so you have to get very, very dedicated to that call.
Yeah, Shelf once again looking for the taunt. Yuk now teleporting to the mid lane is going to catch the wave before Florida State can break that turret apart, but the bottom wave is shoving. Someone's going to have to answer that soon, and it looks like Florida State have got it on a timer.
Yeah, Florida State, if they try to meet this, it's probably going to get cleared out here by Sunar very, very quickly, but they're going to try to use this opportunity to get Dragon control, try to get their first Dragon of the game so they even it up. And they do have Shelf in the top lane, and that is Sunar occupied, but it's going to clear that wave out very quickly. I think a Q, a W, and maybe an E across will just completely clear it. He'll be fine.
Yeah, Hypoxia trading some poke with Yuk and losing that trade as Mundo chunks it away. Dragon has spawned. First one did go to Georgia Tech, and Florida State in the area decide to back away as Saber uncontested shoves the wave. The Tempered Fate doesn't find him. Good flash.
That was really good. As soon as he eat into it, I was just like, oh, Alex Straza. And there's the flash. But that means that this Lucian doesn't have the flash, and they can actually just try to single him out, whether or not it's a flash, body slam flash, and knock him back. But the rest of the team's here, and Sunar's going to go.
Georgia Tech are looking for a fight. Hypoxia is caught. The shield keeps him standing. He's still alive for now as Shelf joins the battle. Taunt finds Yuk. They're finally able to drop Hypoxia as Yuk is going to look for I Eat Puppies. He knocks him down with the cleaver. He's eating steak tonight. Is that him running away? Zatzmod at low mana is so low. Sunar with similarly low health is trying to kite it out, but Yuk is unstoppable, picking up a shutdown kill. The sole survivor Shelf is going to try to make it over the wall, but Mundo goes where he pleases. He decides to let him go.
And Shelf, like you said, sole survivor. Sunar just making it out barely. He barely got away from that if another laser had come through, if there was enough mana on Zatzmod's side. But Zatzmod was trying all he could, but he's still 60 CS down, 2 levels down right now as this Victor. So he's having a very rough game, but Yuk is having a great game for himself on this Mundo. He's pretty much unkillable, and the fact that this Florida State University composition, and something we touched on at the start of the game, was the lack of damage that's going to come through here. You have the blue Ezreal. It's not a huge source of consistent damage. You don't build any crits to take out tanks. Getting your last Whisper item is like 6th item usually, because you have a lot of things that are higher priority for you. And then you also have this Victor who's kind of bursty, but then health and magic resist both counter that, and he's already got loads of both of those now on Yuk.
Yeah, and it seems like we're seeing a delayed damage build out of Zatzmod. He did max out his Hex Core, but going for an Abyssal, followed by a Frost Queen's Claim, not exactly going to 100-0 anymore.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a utility build here for this Victor. The cooldown boots, very cheap, very early on. He does actually have one more upgrade to go for himself on that Hex Core, 2 blue. I taught you already.
You did?
Taught you. But then the Frost Queen's Claim, that's going to just help his team peel. It's going to help his team engage. It is the 6.1 Frost Queens, so it's 2 seconds at basically point-blank range to 5 seconds when you're trying to catch people. But just getting the information is important. So now his team has a lot of kite potential, but that's what they want to do is kite back. Hard to keep a Mundo down, though. Very hard.
Yuk 2-0 right now, but with 2.5 items to his name is looking to be very scary as Georgia Tech might be trying to set something up at the Baron. Shelf is going to recall, but he's got both Stand United and Teleport. Spookies finds Puppies, and a second Spookies. He's going to find Hypoxia.
Spooky's back.
They're trading vision. Red buff actually
Spooky's
resets.
again.
He says it's 2 Spooky, 5 me. The Tempered Fate finds Sunar. Zatzmod might be looking for some follow-up. Saber drops the culling to try to zone them away. Yuk on the far side of the wall can't find the engage. Oh, they're continuing to chase forward. Sunar goes in, lands a slow. Puppies gets chunked away, and Florida State get away with their lives.
Florida State didn't look like they were committed to actually fighting that, because if they were, Shelf would have used his ultimate. Now he's TPing to his turret. Is it even going to go down? No, it's not going to go down.
Looks like Shelf makes it there in time with the rest of his team. Bottom is going to start pushing into Georgia Tech soon, so they might have to back away from this one. Either that or take advantage of this small window. The binding finds Alexstrasza as Hypoxia barely gets away. There's a bit of follow-up, but he just juggles it back.
Yeah, Shelf missing his taunt again. Shelf is just trying to go for these extra long-range taunts, and I haven't seen a taunt flash from him yet.
True Shot Barrage is dodged by Saber, who's been healing up quite a bit. Blue Trinket spots out Rice Fox as they steal it away. Binding gets dropped as well, and the Gravity Storm, Chaos Storm. Sunar drops some damage. He goes down. Zatsmod nets the kill as Sunar goes a bit too far. They take the turret, but is it too much? Rice Fox trying to juggle it away. They net a little bit more action. Spookies is going to provide some slow. It's about to come off cooldown once again.
There's no mana here on Hypoxia, and they lost their magic damage dealer, so it's a 1-for-1 trade overall, but they do end up with a turret on Georgia Tech's side, so it's 4-1 in turrets, and they just have all this pressure. You saw Zatsmod actually use his ultimate over the wall to try and get some poke. It was strangely placed, and it actually didn't burst anybody out. And then the engage from Sunar, a little bit too far in there, but Zatsmod's able to turn it around. And I thought that was something where your team kind of ditched you.
Yeah.
Where did the rest of Florida State University go? Where are my bros?
Don't really know. Zatsmod did burn his cleanse and didn't quite have his flash. And looks like Yuk not able to save that turret in the top lane. The minion wave from Florida State answers for their second turret of the game. Things might be going pretty good for Florida State, as, again, this game is dragging out. Yes, they're down 9,000 gold, but they are taking their time and keeping it patient.
Yeah, the problem, though, is being down 9,000 gold in this Mundo and only having a 2-threat composition is pretty much never going to get better for you. You eventually get to 6 items on both squads, but the Georgia Tech squad, you can always blow up one of these 2 members. Oh, Zatsmod pretty much almost dead at this point.
Yeah, he is.
That's
Might be caught out.
in.
The flash snare. He turns now onto Alexstrasza. That's 2 kills now for Florida State University as they charge forward and find an unprepared Florida State University. Georgia Tech continue to put pressure. They're looking now for the inhib. Saber gets a black shield. Shelf is snared. He's going to get so much damage and be forced to back away. Yuk, so scary.
And Shelf, man, his contribution to this game hasn't been that high. I wanted to see more of this global of his, these double globals, but being down 10,000 gold, at this point, it's pretty much a death sentence.
Oh, the cask is going to buy some time by splitting the minion wave, but is that him? Continues to tank it. They take the mid inhibitor and the turret as well. Georgia Tech are on a roll.
Georgia Tech sweeping the base down the mid lane, opening that up. They have these turrets on the outside, but they're going to have super minions now pushing through. They can go for the dragon. They can go for the baron. No problem here. And I think that Yuk is a huge part here because he's just so threatening. Sunar is making these plays, yes, and you're seeing a lot out of the entire team on Georgia Tech, but Yuk is the insurance policy. They can't kill him. I legitimately am going to say this right now. You cannot kill him as Florida State University. It is so difficult.
Oh, the culling, and is that him? Makes it over the wall. True Shot Barrage is not enough either. The cherry on top of the icing. They get the Baron. Yuk looks like he's going to put your theory to the test, Irene. He goes in 1v4. Sunar joins him, finds Zatsmod, who's chunked low, dropped by Saber. That's 1 dead so far. And Georgia Tech continue to chase forward. I Eat Puppies is CC locked. He goes down. Yuk is trying to go 1v5 as best he can, but the enemy team, they're falling. They're 1v4. They're 1v3. Now 1v2. Shelf is running back to his base as Georgia Tech are going to chase him down. Spooky Ghost provides some slow. Yuk doesn't even care about the turret. Oh, looks like he does just a bit. And Georgia Tech are onto the Nexus.
And Yuk, he literally goes where he pleases in this game. He can go straight into 5 members and still be fine. And it looks like Georgia Tech are going to try to start the season off on the right foot with a win.
Yeah, Shelf does find a taunt, but his Nexus turrets are down. The Nexus itself has fallen, and Georgia Tech start this week off with their first win.
And that's their first win of the entire tournament, so they start off the uLoL Campus Series with that big 1 in the category. They have at least 1 point. If you win both games, you get 3 points. So in the best of 2, we'll have the other part of it for you later. But Florida State,
yeah,
they looked really shaky. I think their draft was a little off, but then also being 1,000 gold down during the laning phase, and it's not even kills going over. It's not even you guys really kind of messing up a lane swap or anything. It's just flat CSing and how many scuttle crabs were going over to the enemy.
Yeah, and this is something that we expected from Florida State University. You know, they mentioned that they were expecting to have a little bit of trouble in the laning phase.
Yeah, Florida State actually said that they don't really know how they're going to be able to beat Georgia Tech, but they just hope they have a really good day. Because if you're on your day, you're on your game, you can actually pull out a victory against pretty much anybody, depending on their day as well. But Georgia Tech, they're saying it's not this day.
Yeah, it's not this day indeed. And I am looking forward to see what they bring in this next game. You know, it was a very patient game. They opted for the Lysandre, they opted for the Mundo, and they decided to sit for 15 minutes.
And I think that's really cool, though, because what they ended up doing is their AD carries their shot caller, right? And they didn't really want to pull too much down to that bottom lane, so they sat around farming. They allowed Bard to roam. They tried to make plays mid, but it was more around Sunar. It was more around the guy who has the most skill on the team. They kept calling him the guy that they think is the best member. So you give him resources, he's able to run with them against who the other team has in the mid lane, who they say is their best member. So giving him that large delta in terms of damage, and he also has an engage button, is pretty much where you want that star player to be.
Yeah, and we did see that discrepancy open up. Here's a replay of Sunar again going for that 100-0 onto Zatsmod.
But that's such a clever play, too. But look at that. See, this is so good because the gravity field's down. Taunt comes through. He can't attack. Is that him?
Oh, no.
What are you doing? Hit the guy.
Just so unfortunate. In fact, if Zatsmod hadn't dropped the gravity field, he would have gotten a revenge kill.
Yes, you would have. But
Oh, man.
it's heart-wrenching.
Yeah.
You were outplayed by your teammate.
Yeah.
But I want to give credit there to Sunar because that was a play that was set up minutes in advance, because what he did is him come by mid, and he ended up using his ultimate already onto Victor in the mid lane, making sure that his cleanse was down. So he said, as soon as it's back up, this is a play we're going to try to repeat. I have the gap closer to do it, and then let's make a play off of it. So that's how they came up with that first blood of the game, off of something that was premeditated because they wanted the cleanse out first.
But then you have to wonder, is that something that they can continue to do through this series, just premeditating these plays that Florida State have to see coming?
Well, the thing is, Florida State didn't seem very proactive in the laning phase. It seemed like they were waiting for the game to happen around them. And this is another great example of it, where you're waiting for bindings to come through. You just want to clear waves. And then, once again, just trying to harass, trying to clear. But there really isn't too much to accomplish here. And the TP from the flank from the side, Sunar, once again, with the go button, gets to flank in. Even though he ulties right onto Zatsmod, or uses his W, Zatsmod cleanses, and then he ulties himself to keep himself alive. They only go 1 for 0 in this fight, I believe, and not pick up 2. And I think that may have been because he didn't get to ultimate Zatsmod. But when the guy's right on top of you, it's kind of strange. Your cursor will actually favor your own champion over the other person's. So it's really difficult to actually pull it off when the guy's basically in your model.
Well, but it's also that the fact that now it's a 4,000 gold lead nearly in favor. They do try to look for a little bit more damage here, and I believe you're right. I think they do end up backing away, but that they can break this game open. When Florida State want to sit, let Victor farm, let Ezreal farm, let Shen get nice and tanky.
Yeah, but while you're doing that, Mundo's farming. And we saw what Mundo was able to do, even though Ezreal had farm, even though Mundo was not that far ahead of everybody else. He had the worst score on his team in terms of kill participation. So he's actually in a spot where that's pretty much what Mundo is going to do when he's locked in champion select against that composition. So that, I think, was an oversight, and I think the power of Mundo was not respected. And this is why we're not seeing so many Gragas jungles anymore. We're seeing Graves jungle. We're seeing Kindred jungle. We're seeing multiple AD carries because they shred through tanks rather effectively. So not having double AD carries and having that kind of older jungler now, he's kind of out of the meta. He's pretty much only played into Kindred to knock him out of the ulti.
Yeah.
It does show a little bit of an outdated champion pool preference in terms of what team play is all about now.
Yeah, we'll see if I Eat Puppies can actually remedy that in game number 2. We're actually going to go ahead and take a quick break, guys. Don't go anywhere. More collegiate League of Legends action is coming right back. Everyone, and welcome back to the uLoL Campus Series. My name is Dominic Seda-Romer. Got it right that time. I'm joined by Aiden Zyrene Moon. We just saw game number 1 between Georgia Tech and Florida State University, and Georgia Tech took a rather convincing win.
Yeah, I'm pretty much here to help you remember your name half the time. I told him right before the break, too, so you could remember.
I know. Yes. He had to tell it to me again. What's my name again?
But yes, Georgia Tech, they ended up having a pretty, what I would call easy win. There wasn't too much opposition there. They pretty much got to play the map the way they wanted to, even with a Shen on the enemy team. So I want to see more out of Shelf here. I want to see him step up. If he has another champion that has globals like that, I know he played Malphite the other day, last week, but he looked like his Shen taunts. He also wanted to have that Malphite range on him, just a little bit short.
Yeah.
And also, sometimes you really do have to just pull the trigger and taunt flash. You really just have to get it in there. And that time that he ended up taunting, is it him? Just unfortunate, really actually unlucky on that one.
Yeah.
All memes aside. But then Florida State, they do need to step it up. They need to be able to close it out. They are actually doubting themselves in this matchup a little bit, but I think they have it. I think they have a little bit in them to actually come back and make it a 1-1.
Mm-hmm.
But Georgia Tech did look really good with Sunar.
Yeah, and I think that's...
Swap that matchup.
Yeah,
try to flip it.
That's what we're seeing with I Eat Puppies in the jungle on that Gragas. It really seemed like he was just playing so passive, so relaxed, just 100% disengaged to try to keep people off of his carries, and it clearly didn't work.
Yeah, I really don't like that pick right now in the current meta. I think there's more damage to come out of a jungle right now. You really want to have your support bring the peel and the top laner bring the peel. Sometimes you can actually have your top laner just play Graves as well or something, right, in the current meta in 6-1. So you then as a jungler, you get to do it. But when you have a tanky top laner, a tanky jungler, and then you have a support that it doesn't provide much damage either, and it's kind of a CC utility catch bot, you just have 2 sources of damage. And I think the 2 sources of damage against a lot of tanks is mildly outdated. I know that we had a game of Team Liquid last week that went very long because it was 2 damage dealers versus 2 damage dealers. So it's still a strategy that exists. I just don't think it's a very good one in League of Legends right now. I think it's an extremely safe one. But if they're running the same comp and they just have better tanks...
Yeah, this is Season 6. This is 6.1. This is all about getting the multiple 80 carries. The more 80 carries, the better, I think. Yeah. But we are, again, in picks and bans. You can see it on your screen right in front of you. Lissandra banned away from Sunar. Poppy, again, banned by Georgia Tech. They don't want to take any chances with it.
Yeah, I like the Lissandra banned away because the Lissandra away from Sunar, making sure he doesn't have that champion. But... also, I want to see what Zatzmod has up his sleeve as well. If it's another Victor, he's not going to be playing it into the Lissandra again, but is there a better matchup for him that he's more confident in? Because right now, that looked like a matchup where he was regarded as the best player on this lineup, but he was against the best player on the other lineup too. Yeah. So right now, it's the battle of the best players, and one of them just looks a little bit better than the other in that last game.
So we'll see if Zatzmod can recover from it. Again, we're going through the bans. Fiora and the Bard banned away by Florida State University. Elise taken away from I Eat Puppies. Maybe they could be trying to force that Gragas.
Yeah, the Bard here is a little strange. This does leave Gangplank open. So if Shelf wants to take Gangplank, highly recommend it. Do it.
There it is.
Do it.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
It's K. It's K.
It's kind of strange because Gangplank is banned all the time. That a lot of people actually don't have as much practice on them as they would like to have. So some people will play it in normals and everything, but then you really don't get good with the barrels and predicting paths and things like that. But or even the setup with them. So I want to see what Shelf does now, but he has a more aggressive top laner. So there's going to be at least 3 sources of damage on this lineup now on Florida State.
Yeah, we'll see if they can recover. Looks like Georgia Tech said, hey, you did okay with Ezreal, but let's show you how it's done. Currently being hovered by Is That Him, and with 24 seconds, we'll see if they decide to commit to it. Oh, this could be an Ezreal Braum. That would work out into a pretty solid bottom lane.
Yeah, it's a bottom lane that you can auto. Your Q will also add a stack of Winter's Bite, so you can stack it up very quickly as Ezreal. But this is kind of strange to actually trade Gangplank for these picks. And so... the Nami, lane dominant, looking for something that's going to help them have a little bit of engage, a little bit of pick, but also is going to allow them to have a little more pressure in lane on top of it.
And this is what we expected from Georgia Tech University, going for these lanes that can put pressure. You saw Mundo shoving in the early and even mid game, Sunar constantly putting pressure onto Zats. it's a tricky situation, and it looks like Mundo now taken away from Yuk as they don't want to take any chances with it.
Yeah, putting that in the jungle, or it could be top lane, and that could actually be a gangplank mid for Zatsmod. I mean, like I said, he's the best player on this roster, according to them. That give him the gangplank, give him the high skill champion, make sure that he has success with it, or is set up for success.
Yeah, Lucian follows.
Yeah, the Lucian pick is quite good. I think Lucian is probably the best AD carry right now on 6-1. There are some arguments for others, of course, like Graves top, like Graves jungle. But in the AD carry role in bottom lane, he seems to be the one that's very prevalent and regarded as just an all-around great pick for pretty much any matchup. Ezreal's pretty much a close second right now, but he does have his weaknesses in a lot of the phases. Now the misfortune's out of it.
And again, it's very dependent with Ezreal on landing those skill shots.
Yes.
So we'll see if Saber can continue with that excellent performance. Looks like Is That Him might be trying to return to the jungle on the blind monk Lee Sin. He was landing a lot of damage last game with that damage prioritized build.
Yeah, I think that he's a very good Lee Sin player, but the whole idea is so that he can make plays with Sunar alongside him. And oh man.
Yeah.
So this is clever. This is clever because Nasus in the top lane, if it's a Mundo, you get to farm alongside him. If it's a Gangplank, you also get to farm alongside him. So Gangplank wants to scale up. Gangplank wants to make use of his parlay, get a lot of gold, and then his build is rather expensive. So as he's scaling up, Nasus is going to be scaling up not just in gold, but in stacks. So when you reach a certain point in the game, you're going to be able to beat up these squishies. They don't have as many squishies on the side of Florida State, though, but I'm really curious to see where this Gangplank goes. I assume it's top. It can be flexed mid, but then where's this Mundo going as well? If it's a Mundo Soraka comp, because they did actually hover Soraka earlier, that's just dirty.
Yeah.
Because I hate playing against that. The Mundo has ulti on, and then Soraka, like, who do you go for at that point? You really don't have a good target.
Morellonomicons, Ignite, and Mortal Reminder.
Yeah, Mortal Reminder. No Caster Sata's regards at all. No Dominic's.
Not quite this time. And looks like we're getting down to the last pick. Hypoxia taking his time. Syndra locked in at the last second. And that is the Soraka Mundo combo from Florida State.
Cool. Okay, so that is going to be a Gangplank top, a Mundo in the jungle. Soraka Mundo is incredibly annoying. Basically, you want to alt F4 because you think that you can kill them under turret. You can't kill them under turret. You dive them, you overcommit, and that's a big problem. And Georgia Tech, right now, they haven't drafted a lot of Engage, right? You have the Nami ultimate, you have Wither, you can kick somebody back, but you don't have that same type of Lissandra lock somebody up and focus them down and force a team fight to happen. So right now, this composition with the Soraka Mundo is looking like great picks right now. The Syndra, of course, can single out a damage threat, and Syndra is actually something that I think has been catching on in this meta. I think Syndra is very powerful with Thunderlords. All you have to do is lock up a squishy, and you take them off the map immediately, just like the same power of Lissandra. You're able to actually make it so that they have one less damage dealer to go after your tanks.
Yeah, looks like Sunar decides to opt into Twisted Fate. Might be looking for those squishies across the map with some Destiny Gate combos, and with our compositions locked in, Florida State changed things around completely.
Yeah, Florida State, they do have a good composition here. I like that there's more damage dealers. That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
I know, I saw you, but it's not going to happen. They're going to have that Gangplank in the top lane. Scales very well. A lot of scaling on this composition. There's a lot here. But then there's infinite scaling on Georgia Tech in the top lane, and there's quick scaling in the mid lane here with the Twisted Fate and the gold that he gets passively. It's similar to what Gangplank gets, but the build of Twisted Fate, in my opinion, actually has some really smooth build paths to it. It's not as expensive, and you have versatility. You can go with a movement speed slow build where you have the Frost Queen's Claim. You can go with a movement speed build for yourself and get Luden's Echo and Lichbane. So a lot of things here. But the thing I want to touch on before we jump in the game, though, is Sunar is once again on a champion where he has the potential to start a fight with his TP or his ultimate.
Yeah.
So Sunar now has the go button once again, and Hui yellow cards is going to be important as well. So.
Yeah. The big question is, can Zatsmod respond appropriately? But let us know who you think is going to take the win for this game. Once again, tweet at uLOL, that's uLoL, with hashtag GTWin or hashtag FSUWin. Let us know who you think is going to win. I'm excited. I think with this new competition from Florida State University, they stand a much better chance than last time. They look strong with this.
Yeah, I think that this is going to be a better composition for them. But of course, in terms of what's at stake here for these guys, Georgia Tech, they're looking to start off 2-0 and have 3 points in their first week because they delayed, of course, their first week's games and rescheduled. Busy college students, you know.
Somehow things happen.
Yeah, you know, you gotta adjust to dorm life, adjust to being so social. Wait, they had time? You
This
saw how
is
much they
halfway through
hung
the
out?
year.
No,
This is halfway through the year.
and just making up excuses now.
Yeah.
That's when you know you're really lazy, is you're making up excuses to not play a video game.
Also known as my freshman year of college.
I can't get on. It's like, what are you doing? Sleeping.
I'm in bed.
Ah.
Okay, everyone's running out of base. Nobody's in bed for this one. Well, maybe. I don't know. These guys could be playing from their
laptops.
dorms. Yeah.
Welcome to 21st century.
I know. Portable gaming. Once again, Florida State University go for a 5-man group into Banana Bush. They're going to be spotted by Is That Him? And Georgia Tech, again with the defensive line, they're not caught out of position this time.
Yeah, but as soon as they see this allows both Ezreal, Saber, and Rice Fox to run into the other side of the map and put down great wards to scout out jungle pathing because you put all 5 members on the other side of the map.
Yeah. Nice, calm, deep wards from Georgia Tech. And Satsmod. Oh, and Alexstrasza showing first damage is traded back and forth. Alexstrasza says, ha ha.
I think you could have regen that up anyway, but it's all good. It's about sending a message. Now you're getting in your head, hey, Soraka,
Ooh, yeah.
she's in this game.
She's totally going to
Sometimes I'm just playing jungle, and I just forget how annoying Soraka is, and then I go to gank the lane, and then you try to turret dive, and you lose the game.
I like how that's the jump. You try to turret dive, and then you lose.
Yeah, 3 minutes, man.
And that's it.
3 minutes.
3 minute turret dive?
3 minute
What
turret
champions are you playing? Like Elise?
Yeah, man.
Elise can do it.
Elise is good.
Fizz, maybe?
No.
But again,
not about that life.
Ooh,
double bubble.
bubble.
Double
Double bubble means double
we
trouble.
both put on like a deeper voice for that. I was like, double bubble.
Oh, man. Because it's an exciting moment. It's a high impact.
I know, it's just level 1, nothing's going to happen, but look at them both get raised into the air.
Man,
Hallelujah.
So much bubble. But all of that gold on Rice Fox, though.
Yeah, Rice Fox, he's getting a decent amount of gold from the Spell Thieves. You know, transferring it over to actual gameplay here. No bubble that time. Ooh. Averages one person per bubble.
Well, I guess, yeah. One person per bubble.
One person per bubble.
We'll see if he can continue with that bubble percentile as Nasus and Gangplank trading it out in the top lane. Rice Fox with a quick level 2 is going to zone him away. Oh, nice.
Yeah, lane dominance right there. Nami, very, very strong. I think that she's actually underplayed right now because she helps you win the lane with the auto attack enhancement, Tidecaller's Blessing, and she can just help you heal up and deal damage simultaneously. The only problem that people always ran into is that she's easy to assassinate, and with a Syndra on the other side, she could be a source of gold for Zatsmod later on.
We'll find out if that's going to be the case. Looks like we do have a delayed invade. Coming out from I Eat Puppies. He secured double buff. Walk forward to drop down. A quick ward could be collapsing. Is that him? Looking for a similar one. Sunar is going to take some damage. Shelf gets out just fine as red buff burns it away. And in the bottom, there's some more trading as well. This game is anything but calm as Hypoxia and Saber deal damage.
Yeah, you pretty much want to trade as much as you possibly can as a Soraka lane. Just Hypoxia, just go up in their face, take the damage, run back. Just make sure you don't die.
Yeah.
And then you'll be fine. You have an ambulance right there. Alexstrasza giving him life.
As long as you're not dead, you're alive.
It's like,
that's the Soraka
I
lane.
put that like above my bed
On a bumper sticker?
So I see that when I wake up. There's all, you know, if you wake up dead, then it's bad.
Yeah, that's generally not a good thing.
I never understood that. You go wake up dead. You don't wake up. Okay, anyway, it's beyond the point.
Yeah. Everybody's wide awake for this one. I'm sure Florida State have responded in our break, gotten themselves together and said, all right, we got to change things up in game number 2. How do we do that? Well, Gangplank for one is a good way to do it.
Yeah, the Gangplank being open was very surprising. I actually haven't seen this champion in action in quite a while. He is still extremely strong. You're pretty much topping almost all regions' ban charts in terms of percentage. I know he's 100% pick ban in some regions too.
In LPL, I think he was a 92% pick ban rate.
Yeah, those fools who left him open.
The one guy who was like, oh, I'll leave him open, and then bam!
I can handle it. It's just like Mordekaiser at Worlds, right?
Oh, that bonk. Oh, that bonk. And that was before the changes to the damage scaling. Oh my goodness.
Junglers actually are quite active this game.
Yeah.
You can see I Eat Puppies playing this Mundo matchup pretty well. He's looking for fights as much as he can. He got the flash out of Sunar mid, and I think that both junglers are going to keep trying to look for opportunities in this mid lane. Because, like I said, and I've said it probably 10 times now, both teams think this is where their strength lies, is in that mid lane. You can free up Twisted Fate to roam, you free up Sunar to be able to actually have an advantage and even kill Zatzmod in lane. You're in a good spot. He's able to roam. He's able to actually affect the entire map. And then Zatzmod, if he can kill Sunar in one combo, then he's in a fantastic position. But here's the thing again, is he's falling behind in CS. It's the same story of last game. Sometimes there's matchups you shouldn't be losing, and there's some you should be winning. But at certain points, you should be winning some matchups.
Alexstrasza gets caught. Silence is going to prevent any further Lee Sin follow-up as Hypoxia dodges the bubble. Rice Fox losing that one person per bubble percentile.
He dodged that one.
Yeah.
I won't hold that one against him.
But again, is that him looking for more pressure in the bottom lane, trying to get Saber ahead for Georgia Tech?
It looks like a roam down here from Zatzmod. Oh, no, he's just placing a ward inside of the Pixel Brush. He sees the pink ward, but his ward's actually going to get cleaned out here by Is That Him? So, a little bit of a just waste of a ward. Threw it down in the bush and it's gone.
That's the warding dilemma. Yes, I see their ward, but Syndra has an attack speed of -8, so she's going to have to sit there for 10 minutes, clearing it while Twisted Fate and Lee Sin just come on down and bop her.
Yep, and I Eat Puppies was on the opposite side of the map and couldn't really reinforce that position to get that pink ward out of there or save their own. And Saber, well, he takes a shot, but
he's sending a message.
There you go. Hitting Alexstrasza is important.
Yeah.
If you can hit that Soraka, you basically take more fuel out of her tank for actually healing Hypoxia in this lane. Of course, I Eat Puppies, he's pretty content to actually just farm up. I think as a Mundo, you should just be looking for clear time. You should be looking to maximize and optimize how much gold you're getting in the jungle. And you saw him go to the Raptors. We saw him pick up Is That Him's jungle camps. But I think you should continue to adopt that pattern here because you just want a lot of gold on Mundo. And then you basically become what Yuk was last game.
Exactly. And speaking of Yuk in the top lane, seems like he's doing okay. He's down just a bit in CS, but by bullying Shelf to his turret, he did force an early teleport out. Though Shelf does have an experience advantage by nearly a full level, Yuk is doing just fine with his Sheen and Kindle Gem.
Yeah. It's going to give him a much faster stack rate here with that cooldown reduction that he has for himself. Yuk, that's all he's interested in right now, is pretty much stacking up, despite being down in CS. As long as he's getting the stacks and he's not completely out of lane. Shelf, you got to be a little careful here. Here comes the Mundo.
Yeah, I Eat Puppies is going to walk right into Is That Him. Zatzmod with the quicker roam, but Zatzmod is caught out of position by Twisted Fate. Yuk throws down the Dominus. Is it going to be enough? The ultimate is dropped. First blood for Zatzmod.
And there's the Thunderlords coming through too. Getting that extra burst of damage. That's one of the reasons Syndra is so potent right now.
She can unleash the full power of that Thunderlords.
This isn't even her final form.
Sunar takes some more damage. Oh, come on, auto for the Thunderlord proc. Whoa, Tidal Wave onto Hypoxia. He dodges that bubble too and drops a culling.
I'm sorry, was there a trade?
Yeah.
They just look full HP to me.
Quick heal from Alexstrasza tops everyone off.
Ooh, nice shot through the minion wave.
How is her health going up so much?
Yep. Welcome to Soraka. I bet he's running HP regen runes.
Oh, yeah.
You will typically do that on Soraka. It's your resource. And it's pretty much the whole way you play League of Legends. Zatzmod doesn't have his ultimate
he
just
overextends.
Yet,
no flash for Zatzmod. Yellow card and Ghost. Is he going to be able to get into range as Yuk comes to collapse? Is That Him finds their exit path? And this could spell disaster for Florida State University. Who do they go for? Oh, they've got Zatzmod. He turns it around for a kill, but Zatzmod finally is going to get dropped. I Eat Puppies is going to eat the dirt.
Not fast enough. They turn and they go 2 for 1 on an engage that they started, and they use up the Mundo ultimate as well. So Florida State, they pick the fight, but they lose it by a good margin here, and they're going to lose this mid lane. Mid lane wave a little bit too, but it looks like no. I guess that's like the best jungler, man. Is That Him this time? Doesn't want to take any CS. got work to do.
The nicest guy in the world. Whereas I Eat Puppies, we already saw him in the last game, showing up top, just snagging a couple of CS.
Oh, man.
He's going to zone away Shelf now? Jeez, look at this guy.
He's just awesome. He just went to mid lane, like, you know what? I'll just let that keep pushing for you. You're good. I trust you, Sunar. So you can see the amount of trust that Georgia Tech has in investing in their mid lane, in investing in Sunar. We saw how many people were willing to blow TPs, how many people were willing to show up to that lane quickly to get there and reinforce him on this Twisted Fate. You do see Zatsmod, despite having 2 kills, both of his teams, he is still down in CS. So he's having a rough time here in this matchup.
Oh, here's Rice Fox.
Action over and over again in this mid lane. They just want to stop Zatsmod from getting off the ground.
Well, that's what we saw in the previous game, was that Sunar was able to continue to snowball with pressure from Is That Him, with pressure from Rice Fox. So continuing that pattern into game number 2, 11 minutes. We do have a CS advantage for Sunar, but not quite netting any kills as it's just shoved over and over. And that pink ward is cleared by Alexstrasza. Ye old banana.
Just sounded like a Shakespearean banana. I pictured it for a second, so
You had to
forgive me.
get into the majestic beauty of Ye old banana.
Yeah, he had a frilly collar.
My heart goes out to you. I pictured it too. A big old white collar. Sunar, whoa, finds the snare. They're going to dive into this. He flashes too far. Lots of damage. Is That Him? Goes down to Zatsmod. Sunar is solo. He's got nothing to do here. He goes down. Shelf a little bit too far without a paddle. He's taking a lot of damage from Yuk, kiting forward. Potassium to keep him standing. Flashes over the wall. Yuk gets the Wither. Is he going to get it? He does. He gets the kill. In the bottom, Alexstrasza is caught. Flashes out of the barrel as Rice Fox goes deep. And Saber tries to zone Hypoxia away. The Ignite is doing a little bit of work, but unfortunately, the Grievous Wounds is not going to prevent Soraka from healing.
Here's the thing is Saber, he does have enough mana for an E. He also has Flash, so if you stick around a little too long, he can actually dive this turret. So they're going to have to be clever about how they pick up these waves. And Yuk, oh my lord.
That Nasus is terrifying, just chunking away. Alexstrasza gets chunked down by Saber with some assistance from Rice Fox. She's got to take it so careful. And it looks like he's going to back away as Shelf teleports top.
Oh, do barrels give him stacks?
They do.
I'm so sad.
It's very, very unfortunate.
Counter matchup, but not really. I think that this is a clever matchup, though, for him. And you saw how much damage he actually did to I Eat Puppies when he just strolled through that lane. Granted, I Eat Puppies doesn't have much in terms of resist or even health department just yet. But that was a point where you are really afraid of going to that lane now because he just needs 2 Qs, 3 Qs to really deal with you.
Things not looking that great for Florida State. So far, they're ahead in kills, but Georgia Tech are the ones that are keeping pace. Blue buff. Wait, was that? Oops. He's got blue buff.
Well, I'll have to see if Zatsmod has it, and there's just 2 floating around. But, you know.
Oh, okay, yes.
No,
wait, no, that one's wearing
one.
off. Yeah.
That's an old one.
Oopsies. Snare is going to snare. That's
but
a
can he
stun.
get a new one?
Yeah, looking for another. Sunar gets chunked low. Doesn't quite have enough. Flash gets the kill. Refreshes that blue buff.
See, that's what junglers do. You take your laner's blue buff, so he just wants the other one so desperately that it gives him that extra oomph and confidence to dive the tower with purpose. He wants that blue buff. You got to go earn it.
Ooh,
go earn your blue buff.
Gets chunked low. Zatsmod demolishes Rice Fox. Even Shelf participating with a bit of cannon barrage. Zoning Is That Him away, and Florida State in the mid lane, they're going to take the first third of the game.
And Florida State off the back of Zatsmod and some clever plays here with having that. Also, Soraka, your Saber.
Uh-oh, Saber is forced to Arcane Shift over the wall. Going to hang on to that flash, but this push is not done yet.
Yeah, they're going to jump off to a huge lead, though, on Florida State's side. About a 2,000 gold lead. I think the biggest that they've ever had in this entire series so far in Game 2 and Game 1. So this is good. This is great for them because now we're seeing the flip side of the matchup.
Hypoxia might be in trouble, and Auto Attack trades it, but Sunar doesn't quite.
Not quite.
No.
So the thing is, Alexstrasza still has Wish, too, so Alexstrasza could have given him a heal from the base as well. It's just so depressing.
Not to mention Zatsmod and I Eat Puppies were in the Dragon Pit. So Florida State University taking a commanding
TP?
lead. The stun is going to find
TP
Saber.
behind.
This is not a good situation. Ooh, doesn't quite get the dash over the wall with her. He's going to get him onto I Eat Puppies. Flash Auto gets the kill for Sunar as Is That Him goes just a bit too deep.
Trade Dragon for 1. And no TP on Shelf, so Shelf was unable to follow.
Looks like stun is going to find
Zatsmod.
Zatsmod. They followed up with the CC chain. Wish is enough to keep him alive. The
Heal.
Ignite is burning away, and he's kept alive. Soraka, please.
Grievous Wounds only reduces self-healing now. So Zatsmod just popped back up to half HP. I'm sorry, were you about to die a second ago?
Oh, man. Zatsmod is like, hold on, I'm coming back for this. Let me see if I can get some damage.
Oh, he angry.
Shelf kites forward. The stun is going to miss as Saber dodges over the wall. Sunar with the yellow card zones them away.
Oh, man. They're just putting so much into Zatsmod right now, and I think it's the best strategy they could have because after game 1, they noticed Georgia Tech, they wanted to camp for Sunar. They made Zatsmod's life awful. He kept dying. They kept putting people in his lane. They were starving him of CS. Now he's even in CS. He's a level up, and he's got the most kills on his team, almost all of his teams, and he's participated in every kill. This is a great game for Zatsmod, the person that they want to put their eggs in that basket with.
Yeah, all of the eggs of Florida State's are in Zat's basket.
Just put oranges in the basket, too.
I mean, oranges and arcane orbs. Well, I guess they're underwater orbs in this one.
Oh, man, Florida State skin?
Yeah. Just to make sure. Well, it's the Florida State Seminoles. Are they just tiny little Indians in the basket?
I don't know. They prefer Native American.
Yes. Tiny little Native Americans in the basket.
Do
they also have frilly collars?
No, they don't.
Ye old Seminole basket.
God, everything's just going to have a collar now.
It's such a good visual.
It's so silly.
Bananas don't wear frilly collars.
Okay.
Siege now from Florida State University as they're going to go forward. It's okay, it's only for reference. As they are going to find a double stun for Zatsmod.
Shelf, though. Pushing off Is That Him. Just barely Is That Him. Used his kick, too. And then the ultimate came down. So they traded ultis, no summoner spells. But still, that 40 CS advantage in the top lane for Shelf. He's now completed his Trinity Force, and I think he has a decent amount of gold in his pocket as well.
A double Iceborne Gauntlet from Georgia Tech. Going to do a lot of crowd control. If anyone's overextended, that's going to be a tricky situation. Yuk might be the one who's overextended. I spoke too soon. He does a lot of damage, but it gets chunked low. He's going to stay alive for now. He's actually alive. He gets out with his life. Now Puppies procced the Rift Herald. He's going to walk away just barely, and Saber defends his bottom tier 1.
That was so scary. You made the giant morphed scuttle crab angry. He really wanted to take a chunk out of you, but walks away, gets healed back up. That was a little strange. You really shouldn't be trying to chase that far, but...
Sunar's caught without a paddle.
Oh, he was just pincered.
Yeah, on a rampage now, 6-1-2.
Yeah, pincer attack right there from both sides. You can't escape during that, even if you hold both left trigger and right trigger.
You gotta match the triggers. That's the secret.
Yuk.
Somebody's
gonna understand that somewhere.
Somewhere. Bottom tier 1 is going down now for Florida State University as Saber shoves it forward. Rift Herald looks to be the answer from Florida State. 4 members on that side.
I Eat Puppies just wants revenge. He's like, this thing smacked me a minute ago. let's go get him. Got my homies
Nobody
now.
smacks me.
I'm going to hand it off to Zatsmod, the person you wanted on. It's going to give him that 10% increased damage.
Yeah.
It's going to give him the extra movement speed, as well as the empowered recall, and the buff up to the minions. So, being able to shove here, the Luden's Echo for even more burst, and the blue buff. So Zatsmod is pretty much geared up and ready for combat here. They're just putting so much in his hands, and he's delivering right now.
Yeah, he's been ready for combat this entire game. I mean, starting off with that early kill, the aggression onto Sunar, and then continuing to put pressure on that mid lane, not sitting passively, closing the CS difference between the two.
There's just great targets for him, too. There's 4 squishies that he can go after and blow up, no problem. So there's these prime targets for him to get even more fed off of. And this just looks like a really good draft here from Florida State, definitely in comparison to what they had last game.
And we'll see if they can continue this pressure as we're getting later on into the game. 20 minutes now, and with 1 dragon and 2 turrets in favor of Florida State, they are going to lead by 2,500 gold as well, though they now take a third as the minions clear the bottom tier 1.
And that 3rd turret, first dragon, Florida State.
And this probably feels pretty good for Florida State University.
Yeah, well, bouncing back is really hard, too. And the red buff,
oh, there goes the ultimate. Cannon Barrage finds Rice Fox. He's dropped by Shelf.
The camera's just like, we got to show this guy for 1 second. Yeah. What a badass. He's not even on screen.
He's off doing Scuttle Crab. Look at him kill that crab.
And now they get to group up and they get to shove down this turret. You have to watch for the wave clear, though, of Sunar. But Zatsmod is such a threat. With Ignite up as well, that he'll just one-hit combo him if he gets a stun.
Yeah, he just picks up the orb for some unleashed power and zones Sunar away with some trade. Decides to go in. The ultimate is dropped. Sunar's still alive, barely. Gets kicked back in. Zatsmod might try to turn this around. He's going 1v4, and it's not enough. He goes down, and the inhibitor is still standing.
Oh, man. That's heartbreaking for Zatsmod, and not in the way that, like, a Soraka healed the person. It's just so close. But ends up giving up even more shutdown gold over to the side of Georgia Tech. Ultimate pop. Looks like they're looking for their first dragon on Georgia Tech's side with the death of that Fed member of Florida State.
Yeah, Destiny Gate is going to get Sunar onto that dragon. This could be the first one for Georgia Tech as they surge forward. Tricky situation now for Florida State, as with all of their eggs in that Syndra basket, the moment that thing tips, it starts to get scary.
Yeah, when eggs hit the ground, they kind of blow up. You can't really put them back together.
What kind of eggs are you eating?
Well, they explode. Eggs.
Do they have nitroglycerin?
They don't like get ignited and blow up. They just like crack or smash against the ground, and they
explode.
They blow up. They explode.
Michael Bay is going to make a movie about eggs now. It's just slow-mo, a basket tilting and eggs rolling out. Okay.
So they get a turret on the side of Georgia Tech. They take down the mid turret. Now it's a counter push, but it could be a Baron if they have enough vision denial here. If you can actually get I Eat Puppies into the pit, they always have to worry about Lee Sin. I think you just bait it. I think you deny vision, you try to bait it, and then if you have the setup, they know they have some pink wards that you're able to actually pick people. Pick comps are so good to play around Baron with. I think people don't do it enough, where you can single out a member very quickly. There go spooky ghosts.
Yeah.
And it looks like it might be a top lane push here for the team, but there's a spooky ghost that went all the way up there.
Yeah, so they know that this is happening. Oh, setting up that pick that you were talking about. There's a follow-up. Spooky ghost. Sunar is caught, so too is that him. Which target are they going for?
Oh.
It is that him. He gets out with his life. Tidal Wave disengages Shelf. Not going to drop his orange just yet. Teleport now from Yuk. He's going to try to defend the turret. Takes a lot of damage. He's going low. Dominus doesn't get a full heal, as he did have the Morellonomicon debuff applied, and there's so much AoE being dropped. It's a double kill for Hypoxia, and Florida State are continuing to put pressure. 3-man stun lines them up like billiard balls and scares Georgia Tech away.
You can't get to the Soraka. Alexstrasza is just a battery for all these members, and they're going to be able to knock down this turret if they don't take any more poke. You'll have to watch out, though.
Yeah, Zatsmod is super low. Never mind, he's got a Soraka behind him. True Shot Barrage is about to come up. They're taking their time with this, and the barrel chunks Saber out.
You got to watch out for the True Shot Barrage. It is up now, and it's off. Where's it going?
Across. Oh, just missed. I think it was expecting them to continue past the Tribush.
If you would hit Soraka, though, that's the thing with Soraka. Whenever I play her and I'm healing a team and there's an Ezreal on the other side, you basically run around with 10% HP or less than 10%.
Constantly dodging imaginary skill shots. Like, is he coming? Is it here? Is it there? Is it here? Is it there?
And then you walk into it. No.
Alexstrasza does get out alive, and with that, Florida State net 2 kills. They don't quite break down the turret, but they're slowly trying to snowball this lead just a bit more.
Yeah, it's taking them a while to actually get off the ground with it. We saw the lead from Georgia Tech last game manifest itself in the laning phase. And even when First Blood came out, they were already over 1,000 gold up on Georgia Tech's side. So Florida State now, they're firing back, but they don't have the same types of CS leads in the mid that Georgia Tech had. Top lane, though, 70 CS, Shelf is pretty much going to destroy this team given enough time. He's going to be like what Yuk was last game. Insurance policy. If Zatsmod falls behind a tiny bit, they focus on him, then Shelf is the one you have to kill.
Yeah.
And this is such an annoying composition to play against because you gave over Gangplank, you gave over Mundo, and then Soraka? Like, that's just mean.
Ooh, True Shot Barrage finds a lot of damage. Hypoxia is slowed. Tidal Wave is going to catch him. He goes low. He goes down to Yuk, who's now chasing on his Zatsmod. Shut down. 2 members dead. Shelf is the target. He's trying to bring him low. Chunked to half health. Sunar, he's got the gold card ready. He's got Flash. They're looking for it. Ghost gets him into range. Shelf is going to be caught. Is the orange up in time? It's not. Eat Puppy's body blocks a hit. Wish is not enough to keep them standing. Alex Straza now running for his life. They're diving 2 turrets deep. There's a bubble. Double kill now for Yuk, and Georgia Tech answer back.
They were just caught off on the side and top. That is really, really bad. Florida State, they need to group as 5. Alex Straza was in mid lane. I don't know what the Soraka is doing without a member near her, but the battery was gone. The person that makes it so that you can't go directly after any of these members and you have to go after her was gone. Now that's going to be an easy Baron for Georgia Tech, and they're going to actually even up the gold and then some.
Yeah, this is now an advantage for Georgia Tech as they take that Baron with the answer. Florida State trying to make the same play happen 2 times in a row, get punished as Georgia Tech answer so eloquently.
Oh, man. That was just disastrous. In the postgame, regardless of Georgia Tech winning or losing, I think that's a replay that we have to cover. That's one where when you see them out of position like that and you see the Soraka in the mid lane, it's the definite go trigger. And they were also taking poke from above. You saw the damage that came out onto Zatsmod before the fight even started. And then Sunar popped the ultimate and engaged and followed up. Really, really good play there from Georgia Tech. But Florida State, they still have a little bit of gas in that tank. There's some Baron buffs up, but you still have this Gangplank. You still have this Gangplank with 250 CS. As soon as Shelf starts getting towards that 3-item spike and gets that large amount of crit and CDR for him, he'll be in a good spot. He'll be able to actually use the IE crit, is what it looks like he's going for.
Ooh, Destiny Gate is used. They might be looking for Shelf, in fact, but he makes it out just fine.
It's the only outer turret left, or I guess tier 1 turret left for Georgia Tech to take because they have the mid and bot. You leave your top laner, Yuk, to farm the mid, and now you have to run them back and forth. They're getting the runaround here.
That's exactly what we're seeing. Teleport is being used by Shelf to defend. True Shot Barrage is there to follow as well.
A little curious. TP is a much longer cooldown than your ultimate. I would assume that you would use the ultimate to clear the wave and maybe slow them and they would run away. So the TP seems a little gratuitous.
Dragon now seems to be the target. Georgia Tech actually walked past it on their way into their own jungle, not quite going to pull the trigger with Twisted Fate on the far side of the map.
If they get another turret here on Georgia Tech's side, they're pretty much going to be at the gold lead that Florida State was at just a moment ago before that Baron, before that fight.
Oh, yeah, there's the Cannon Barrage to clear the wave, as predicted.
You do have to protect these towers. You give up even more gold while this Baron buff is up. It becomes so much harder to come back. But here's the thing is that Zatsmod, he's still got that burst in his pocket. You don't see magic resist coming through for Saber or Sunar. Maybe you'll eventually see a Mercurial Scimitar for Saber and maybe an Abyssal Scepter for Sunar. It would be a bit of a stretch, but that's when they'll start getting resistances and stuff that'll stop them from dying. Because all these kills actually went over to Yuk. They went over to this Nasus in the top lane.
A lot of damage Yuk is going to be doing as he has now completed a Spirit Visage on top of his Dead Man's Plate. Should be chunking up quite a bit. And with Baron buff still active for about another minute or so, Georgia Tech try to put some cross-map pressure. Yuk in the bottom, Sunar in the top lane. Cannon Barrage still on cooldown for another 20 seconds or so.
They have the split push going, though. They have 1-3-1 going. They're making the most out of their Baron buff, and this is the strategy that is awesome to use when you have this type of composition and you get a Baron.
Oh,
Shelf,
Sunar caught by a barrel, takes so much. The potassium keeps him standing. Cannon Barrage is not enough. Is that him? Kicks shift forward. Wish keeps him standing, but he goes down.
Wow. Decided not to chase him through for another parlay Q. It was almost back up. You have the CDR, but still doesn't get it.
Yeah, a lot being overcommitted in that top lane. Yuk even teleporting up there as Saber and Rice Fox in the mid lane try to break through that Syndra and Mundo to get to that vulnerable tier 2 turret. But still standing for now, and while it is a kill, it's it's not going to take any bigger objectives for Georgia Tech.
That's true, and it's not even a shutdown as well. Shelf, with his single kill, he's just been farming this game. Highest CS in the game, but he's hitting those item spikes. He just needs the combination now for his Infinity Edge, and then he'll be doing a massive amount of damage to these squishies. If he's ever able to actually get a barrel onto Saber or Rice Fox, it's half their HP easily. Especially on a crit.
Mm-hmm.
That would definitely put them in a bad situation. But being in a bad situation, as I see that Hypoxia with the QSS now in his inventory, trying to stop himself from getting locked up from Yuk or Sunar, because it's just so annoying to get withered that you can even use QSS on that.
So now that the Baron has fallen off, so far we've only seen one turret taken by Georgia Tech after that advantageous fight. And yes, they're up 2,500 gold, 3,500 even.
Yeah.
But they're not quite able to break through Florida State without some sort of bigger advantage. The Baron buff itself is not enough,
Yes.
to bring Georgia Tech further forward.
Yes. The thing is there's so much threat on your members. Despite Zatzmod now being the one who's a level down, he can still blow up pretty much anybody on this team, save for Yuk. He can do a decent amount of damage to Is That Him, but you really don't want to pick that target. And of course, there's always Soraka. You can stop people from going down.
The banana battery.
Yep.
Once again, the 1-3-1 is applied. This time Yuk, however, doesn't have teleport, so he's a bit closer to the 3 in that mid lane. And Sunar shows himself in the bottom. Zatzmod already down there to catch the wave and answer.
Oh man, Yuk is level 17. Yuk is fed at this point.
Oh, they could be looking for this turret. Cannon is not going to be cleared out just yet. This is a lot of damage. They don't quite have enough minions to break it down.
No, not yet. It looks like Zatzmod pinged out, and Sunar is pushing the bottom wave. So they have to answer this on the side of Florida State. Nice flash there. But
Yeah,
Rice Fox out.
Flashes to keep himself safe. Sunar splitting again in the bottom. Spooky Ghosts is going to buy his time along with Destiny and Gate to make sure Zatzmod is double slowed. Oh, he's going in now.
Oh,
that's
too
a little
early.
bit too soon. There's the tidal wave. Oh, he pulls the trigger too quick and gets punished as Saber kills him.
They knew that he was going back and forth on that route too. They pinged him out multiple times. And then Sunar clears the bottom wave, makes sure he's able to take out Zatzmod. Now the threat's gone. Now you can take these turrets. The person who's going to blow you up is Shelf, and you can counterplay that by killing the barrels. So they're just going to push these turrets down. They're going to jump up to an even larger gold lead. We're looking at 6,000 right now, and this turret isn't even down yet.
Yeah, the cannon, the barrels are going to clear the wave. Another True Shot Barrage. Shelf gets chunked. That Nasus is massive. And 2 tier 2 turrets go down just from Zatzmod. I think you're right. That egg just exploded.
Yep. As soon as they had that fight where he went down, he gave over shutdown gold, and then the one by Baron, he was pretty much giving up all his advantage. He gave up level advantage. Yuk was able to actually stack up a lot of gold off that fight, and then he was able to become this gigantic Nasus threat, though. I eat puppies. He's looking for the flash smite.
Yeah, this is a
Can he do
scary
it?
situation. If he can try to get over the wall, he flashes.
Oh, he got
it! He steals the Baron. He's chunked low, though. That's going to end up being his death. Shelf is in the rest of the team. There's exhaust on Nasus, buying them a precious few seconds, but it's not enough. Here comes Zatzmod. He kills Sunar. They dive forward for Alex Straza, trying to kill the battery, but it's not going to be enough. And this is just not looking very good. Yes, they get the Baron, but with 3 members dead, Georgia Tech have got momentum.
It's 3 for 3. They have their AD carry and top laner up on both sides. Sorry, 3 for 2, because Rice Fox, he's blinking, but he's still alive.
Yeah, this is a tricky situation now. With that Baron, they should be able to defend just a bit better.
Yeah, no mana on 2 of these members here. So you're pretty fine to actually defend it. They'll have to go do Dragon if they want anything out of this. But good Baron steal there from I Eat Puppies.
Yeah, the Flash, Smite, Steal,
Keeps him in this game.
exceptional. And you're exactly right. Keeping them in this game, finally keeping his calm, keeping his cool, and pulling the trigger when he needs to.
Yeah, keeps him in the game, stops Florida State from right now going 0-4 in the first 2 weeks and having one of the, well, I guess the worst possible start you could have to the campus series. Georgia Tech, though, looking to start off on the right foot and go 2-0
Yeah.
on their side.
So far they're 1-0, and this game is much closer than the previous one. The new team composition and movements that we're seeing out of Florida State seem to be paying off in spades as they are putting a lot of pressure onto Georgia Tech.
Yeah, I don't know how they're going to deal with Yuk again, though. It's the same story as last game, right? You hit this break point where Yuk, he just seems to like these scaling champions. The Mundo, the Nasus, despite Nasus not being a very meta champion at the moment or very popular in competitive play, you can still make it work in the right situations. And this is a good situation for it. Even if he wants to just run straight through the team and bonk whoever's close, he does have a large amount of stacks at the moment. He's got 600 is what I'm seeing. 35 minutes in.
Oh, some barrels are charging forward with Baron buff. It's Florida State who put on the offensive. Wave clear rests on Twisted Fate's shoulders. He's not there just yet, so the turret takes a lot of damage. Tidal Wave might try to force the engage. I Eat Puppies dodges. Hypoxia is the only one who gets hit. He just rides out the slow and gets healed by Alexstrasza.
Yeah, and that's the problem with the Georgia Tech composition in contrast, because if you look at Florida State, they have a lot of people who you really have a hard time getting to, right? You have this Gangplank that can get rid of CC. You have this Soraka who's going to stay all the way in the back and try to heal. And Lucian's rather slippery as well. And then you have disengages from the slow from Mundo, as well as Syndra just knocking people back. But Georgia Tech, their team basically runs at you to engage. So if they ever want to close out a lead, they have to TF ulti to the back line.
Find someone out of position, pick
or
them
use
off.
Nami ulti.
Yeah, Tidal Wave.
Those are their two options, but they're very difficult to execute on. It's not a clear, hard engage.
Yeah, we've now hit the 36-minute mark, and with the Baron buff stolen by I Eat Puppies, Florida State University are able to take a turret advantage. They're still down in overall gold by about 4,000, but that's not that much 36 minutes into the game. Very tenacious from Florida State University to hold on by this much, but we might be seeing Georgia Tech look for a play as Yuk shoves a wave, and he's got some backup from Saber.
Yeah, if you find a way to kill Yuk while his team is not around, because he's going to be the last person you kill, because everybody else is squishy. And that's the problem here. Both teams have somebody that you want to kill, but there's bigger threats. You want to kill Yuk, but your abilities have more bang for their buck if you're going after Sunar or Saber. Right? But Yuk does a lot of damage now. So how do you ignore him? And then Florida State, Alexstrasza, you want to focus the Soraka, but the Syndra's probably going to give you more bang for your buck if you burst her. Right? So there's these kind of decisions you have to make mid-team fight based on positioning. Who do we go after? Because if Alexstrasza exposes his Soraka to a bad positional error, or if Yuk does that, Yuk has a little bit more leeway with what he can get away with.
Yeah. We'll see who gets caught by whom. As the Tidal Wave once again is dropped, they might have just caught Shelf. A good stun is going to keep Rice Fox away, and is that him? Can't pull the trigger.
Yeah, he tried to jump to that ward. The safeguard came out and got knocked back right then. They still have a bit of damage to come through here. Not too much went off. Rice Fox, he's going to go back to the base and try to heal between minion waves. You're just looking for a pick at this point. There's nothing really to pick up on the map, though. They're out. They have all those outer turrets. It's just these inhib turrets. You'll keep farming the jungle, and there's no dragon or baron in even the near future.
No dragon, no baron. The only buff that's on the map right now is the red of Florida State University. You can see Shelf and Hypoxia both heading down. I want it. No, I want it. No, I want it. Looks like Hypoxia is going to be the guy who gets it.
I was just helping you. I really wanted the buff. Yeah. That's what happens every time I hand my red off. I really want it for myself. But
Yeah.
Get better with it. I know it.
Yeah, it looks like the Gangplank is going to catch some CS in the bottom lane. Now an 80 CS lead over Yuk, but that still is a very tanky Nasus. And as you mentioned, the Infinity Edge now completed an Asterix Gauge on Gangplank to help keep him alive.
Asterix Gauge. I wonder what his last item is. Pickaxe? It could be a Maw. He could be going for the Maw Sterix combo.
For super shields.
Yeah, could be. Could be a Death's Dance. I mean, a lot of things build out of this.
Yeah.
Could be going for the last Whisper item. Who knows? Be a mystery. I don't even know if we'll figure it out. I don't know if we'll even figure it out.
I think he knows.
We'll see. Has to get about 7 minutes later in the game.
With Baron and Dragon spawning on timer, that could mean a lot of objectives on the map at once. A quick recall from Yuk is going to complete his last item of the game. Now even picking up captains for his Swifty boots.
Yuk?
Yes.
Looks like Alacrity.
Alacrity? That's white,
Yeah.
isn't it? Or is that green?
That's green. Captains are yellow.
Hey, captains.
Captains are yellow-orange.
You're right. Yes, you are.
Are you colorblind? You never told me this?
I didn't think so. I haven't been colorblind. Is that something that could happen?
It just happened right
Just
now.
overnight?
I mean, you forgot your name.
Yeah, I know. Jeez.
Who else
Who
knows
is this guy?
what abilities
I
you've
need to go
lost?
see a doctor. Goodness.
Right after this, though. You got to cast this game.
Yeah, I know. We're going to finish this one up. Baron's up in 10 seconds along with Dragon. The pressure is placed by Georgia Tech as they surge forward with all 5 members of their team and a fresh suite of items to accompany them.
It is going to be the last Whisper picked up for Shelf in the top lane. He wants to be able to do some damage to Yuk. Yuk is now a big target for this entire team. You got to kill him somehow, though, but it's rough. Him in the back line, he's trying to get a good kick.
Indeed. He's got a Guardian Angel as well. Looks for Alexstrasza, finds Alexstrasza. The wish is not enough. Zatzmod is already dead. Georgia Tech are turning this fight and winning it handily as they engage hard onto Florida State University. That's a double kill now for Yuk. Baron's on the map, so too is Dragon. RiceFox takes a lot of damage. They're buying time for the rest of the team. A teleport from... the Baron! No! The bubble finds him. RiceFox pays for his life, and the rest of his team, they're not going to surge forward. They're going to try continuing chase Shelf down. Might not be the best idea, as that Gangplank does a lot of damage. 1v3 is able to zone them away. Yuk even getting chunked away, that tanky Nasus. Finally, they're going to look for the mid inhibitor.
Buying time on that Gangplank, though. Shelf, he did all that he could, and the game may not just be over.
Yeah, this game might still be going on. The inhibitor turret is going to fall. The inhibitor itself follows. It's 41 minutes in. The first inhibitor has fallen in favor of Georgia Tech.
Sometimes you lollygag, you mess around, you try to chase a Gangplank down, and you can't close the game. They get an inhibitor, they're going to run straight for this Baron and try to make a play on it now. I Eat Puppies is back up. He does have Flash, and he does have Smite once again. But you got to watch out.
Yeah, we've seen him do it once. Yuk, doesn't quite take the barrel damage as he gets his auto attack off in time.
Quick fingers.
And RiceFox has respawned. All 5 members are back up, but summoner spells are looking a bit dodgy for both teams.
I actually think that the summoner spell advantage is in favor of Florida State now.
Yeah, they're looking now for the Baron. This could be a tricky situation.
Yeah,
you gotta get it back away.
You gotta watch out. There's minions pouring into your base, and Yuk has TP, and Sunar does as well. If your team starts to do a Baron, you could actually just have the Nasus TP into your base with the TF, and it'll take your base very quickly.
Yeah.
Nasus with those stacks against structures, pretty much paper.
Yeah, very scary situation. We'll see if they will be able to keep themselves safe. A defensive setup for Florida State, as they don't want to take any chances for the terror that is that late game Nasus. 9-2-2. Gosh, stacks on stacks on stacks.
Got stacks on stacks, but see if he can actually use all that money he's got in his pockets, because everybody's catching up to him now. Mortal Reminder for Shelf.
Ooh, is that him? Might be caught here. Drops a huge kick, finds 3 people. He's got a Guardian Angel, however, he's going to take a lot of damage. Dodges that one,
Shelf.
too. Yuk finds Shelf. Sterak's gauges pop. What? He goes down to Sunar. They're chasing Hypoxia down now as well. He's got his flash. Instantly cleanses to dodge some more of the damage. Georgia Tech continue to chase forward. Is that him? Finds him. Is that actually him? It is. He gets the kill. Meanwhile, the rest of the team is fighting. Zatzmod goes down. I Eat Puppies and Alexstrasza, the sole survivors. The battery has been caught. She's all out of power now. Is that him? Doesn't even care about the minions. He's just trying to prevent the recall. Is Ye Old Banana turning it around? Oh, how long does the Sonic Wave last? Can he pursue? He doesn't quite make it to her in time. He will be able to get this kill when it's all said and she's going for so long. The base indeed. Alexstrasza finally ends up going down just in time with those Nexus turrets. The Nexus itself follows, and Georgia Tech start off their first week 2-0.
And Georgia Tech starting off 2-0, but Florida State 0-4 in their first 2 weeks here, off to the worst possible start they could have. But there were signs of life in there.
Yeah.
The second draft looked good. It looked like they were going to be able to actually use Zatzmod to close the game out, but they said team fighting was their strength. They need to reevaluate that right now, because that was where they lost this game. Their picks were good, but the fact that they kept going for these team fights or getting caught out and not being a 5-man unit is what cost them the game. Yeah. There were 2 fights in there, very clear that they were not around each other at all. And even that last one, it didn't look like everybody was on the same page despite being in the same place.
It was a bit scattered for Florida State University, and we started to see them sort of fall apart a little bit after they picked off Syndra, not once, not twice, but multiple times consistently throughout the course of the match. Because, again, putting all those eggs in that basket, that's putting a huge bounty and marker. Kill Syndra. The moment she's dead, team fight.
It was just such a good idea at the start. But right here, look at this. Where's Soraka? Soraka's slowed off to the right side, and they dodged to the left. But look at the poke. The poke's already been coming out. And Zatzmod is half HP, and he just gets destroyed. And Shelf isn't even there. So at the start of this fight, you have your Soraka, your heal bot on the opposite side of the fight, and then you have everybody else tunneling in on your carries. Lucian goes down, X-Hypoxia out of it, Zatzmod out of it, and then Shelf comes in late.
Yeah.
So at that point, you're just looking at that was a gold deficit. You're down 4,000 gold, and this is the play that gets you Baron. So that's what I'm talking about right there. You have almost no business walking that way through the enemy jungle when Baron is on, and you don't have appropriate vision.
Yeah.
You really should not be doing that. That's too much confidence there that you really should be just be baiting the objective. I talked about how baiting a Baron against a pick comp is so smart to do, or with a pick comp, because all you do is deny vision, and they have to check it. They have to do that, and then you single out whatever member you want. If it's the tank, they still had enough damage at that point to kill Yuk. Then it just got out of hand.
Here's Exit Pup. I Eat Puppies actually stealing the Baron buff with a smite. Is that him? Didn't even use his.
Yeah, it was too fast. But this kept them in the game. There was cleanup afterwards, though. This is the whole dilemma of, are you going in alone? Are you going to steal it and then we're just going to have 4 members with it and then defend as 4? Or are we all going to try to run in and have a fight afterwards? It ends up being a 3 for 2, and they keep 2 Baron buffs, but it ends up not being enough at the end of the day because Yuk, again, on a tanky champion, but he does a lot of damage. And as the game progressed, he's just infinitely going to scale. When everybody hits 6 items, he's still going up in damage, and he's still going to be a threat, and he's going to become even worse as time goes on.
Yeah, Yuk, an absolute monster throughout these games. First on, it was Mundo, and then Nasus. This guy is unstoppable.
Yeah, it's so strange, too, because you're sitting there going, well, in the first game, his scoreline was like 2-0-0 for the longest time, and everybody else is sitting around like 2-1 and 6 and stuff. But he's the insurance policy, and that's really what I think about him in the top lane, is that he's a guy that's going to be able to back his team up, because you saw the beginning of this game, they're down 4,000 gold. He gets all the kills, he's able to carry after that point, and become something that they can't kill, and he's killing them simultaneously, just like the Mundo in the previous game. So despite not being the star of how they got the advantage in the first game, he was still somebody by the end of the game, he was making it so that you just couldn't come back into it as the enemy team.
And again, that's not to discredit Florida State University at all. That was Georgia Tech playing exceptionally over the course of that entire series to end up coming out 2-0. And this is sort of what we expected from Georgia Tech. The fact that they were able to play it out well. They wanted to make it into the top 4. They actually made it into the top 8 of the NACC 2015. So it does follow that we are seeing good play from them.
And they have 2 returning members from that squad.
Yes.
So I believe it's their AD carry and support, right?
Yeah, it is.
I believe it is. You said it earlier.
Saber and Rice Fox?
Yes, is their AD carry and support. So those 2 guys coming back in, but of course Saber is the shot caller of this squad, so they still have the same kind of macro sense or the same person directing them around. They do have Yuk now, who is their secondary shot caller, but he seems to be adding a lot to this team, and I want to see in the future how they stack up against the Titans of the South. Texas A&M and University of Texas are now both looking like number 1 and 2, but Georgia Tech is saying, no, we were number 2 last year.
Yeah.
We're going for number 1 this year. And trying to the whole thing with this is you're competing for almost like validation aside from scholarships. They talked about this is for pride as well. So you're fighting for I play League of Legends and I got a scholarship from it. They're playing their hearts out right now.
Validation not only for their teams and for the players, but for the families involved and the university itself to have the prestige of having that best League of Legends team. But I think that's just about going to do it. Well, yes, in North America. That's going to do it for us for this broadcast. Don't go next week, actually. We're going to have University of British Columbia versus Simon Fraser University. This is the NACC 2015 champions we've got.
Yeah, UBC, University of British Columbia. Columbia. They actually, in 2014, they made it to the NACC event where they were top 4, and they represented the North. Then, or actually, no, actually, that back then, it was the entire North was actually in that event, but they were top 4 in the North back then in 2014. 2015, they won the entire thing. Now they're back, and their roster isn't actually too different either. So UBC going up against Simon Fraser, it is a British Columbia matchup, of course, because they're both right across from each other, crosstown rivals. You basically see each other's students all the time.
Yeah, should be an exciting matchup. But again, come back next week for more University League of Legends Campus Series action. Thanks so much, and we'll see you soon.